evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're finishing up our applied damage pals, at least as far as I know. I think that this is the last one in the applied damage pals that we have to do. If I missed one, I'll double check to make sure that I didn't. But as far as that goes, we're talking about Wixen. As it reads, when fighting together applies fire damage to the player's attacks. So this is a fighting together pal. Some things to note about Wixen starting off with. She is really good with her work suitability, her being a handiwork 3 to start out with. And you can get her fairly early. So with that being said, this can be kind of your before you get your Anubis kind of deal when it comes to work suitability stuff as far as handiwork. She does have a kindling 2 and a transporting 2, but usually you can find some stuff around the area that has something that's similar or maybe a little bit better with kindling. But you can find her in the small volcano area over near here. And I didn't even think about it when I was working with her at first, but while we were streaming, someone had pointed out that they spawn over here as low as like level 17, I think even lower. We'll go check that out real quick. I always forget about the little tiny volcano area. Yeah, we have one at 16. I think you might be able to even find them at 15. There's a 20. There's a 16. There's a 17. You can also get your RSOX over here as well. This Wixen, we went ahead and 4-starred her out, put the souls into her. We're at a 90 for the health, 94 for the attack, and a 79 with the defense. So 79 is a little low, but to be honest, in my opinion, if you're in the green, then you're in the clear. As far as your IVs go, it's not going to be that bad. So as far as those IVs go, we're sitting at 5,620 health, 1,662 attack, and 917 defense. So I think if we were in the 90s, closer to 100, we might be at 1,000 defense. I'm not sure. Have to take a little peeksy on some other ones, or if anybody wants to do the calculations on that, by all means. But we're running Ferocious, Burly Body, Musclehead, and Legend on this in particular one. Again, something that I quickly cooked up. Not necessarily the best passives for this, but Burly Body is saving us with our defense. It would be a lot lower if we did not have that on, because it would be at, with nothing on it, flat, with not even Legend or Burly Body on it, we'd be sitting at 655. So that's pretty low. So that saves us quite a bit with a 40% increase to its defense. So that makes it a bit better. The attack doesn't suffer near that much either. And for it to be a fighting together pal, Burly Body's probably not a bad option in my opinion on this in particular one, because of the simple fact that it is a fighting together pal. Rather than you being able to ride it and dodge and everything like that, they do kind of dodge a little bit, but they mostly just get in the pal's face and start doing damage, and they take a lot of damage usually as well. But that will not stop us from testing her today. The active skills that we are running are Flare Storm, Fireball, and we added Seed Mine for the double damage, and any ice pals will be getting the same treatment. Her being an applied damage pal compared to Ragnarok and Pyron, which are more of your higher end, or I'd say mid-game builds that you're really looking for. This is actually really good for early game. Not only with her work suitability, with her handiwork, but for her applied damage of fire as well, because there's a lot of early pals that have grass attacks. Early to mid, you have a lot of grass attack stuff. But yeah, you got the Bronze Cherry down here at 23. You got Patalia here at level 28. You have your Mamoress at 38, your Valid at 38, your Verdash at 35, Wampo Botan at 38. So a decent amount of grass pals that you'd be going against that you could use this as part of the application as far as going against those in particular pals. Like I said, a really good early to mid game pal in my opinion. We will be testing her both with her attack power and her abilities with the weapons, which we already know after testing all of these guys that have the applied weapon damage. As long as they're alive, then we're going to be doing a lot of damage when it comes to the Gobfins, because you could just crank up the damage a lot with the Gobfins. Gobfin stacking is completely overpowered. I read somewhere in the comments on one of the videos the other day, someone was mentioning that they actually dropped their actual damage that is done to pals in order for them to kind of utilize pals more frequently, which I think that's a fun idea. That's something that would make it to where you would need to kind of force you to use more pals than yourself as far as the damage goes. Because other than a handful of pals, like literally a small grouping, you yourself crank out way more damage than a lot of them do. And much quicker damage at that, especially after you start getting into the legendary weapons and everything. But nonetheless, we will go ahead and we'll test her outright damage against some stuff. With a 3-stack behind them, she is doing 2,249 attack. What we'll do is we'll switch out Seed Mine for Flare Arrow, and we will take her against Lylene, which this is going to be a quick fight. This is really not a difficult challenge by any means. But we will also feed her a burger. And with the burger, we're at 2,934 damage. So that's pretty high. We're almost hitting 3 grand. That's really good. Should be a quick fight. Yeah, not surprising there. She did lose a bit of health there, but again, talking about a good like mid-game pal, if you were doing damage with that, you'd be able to stomp Lylene pretty quickly with little to no problem. So now we're going to take one of the rubies off here, and we are going to take her against Blazemut. Now, fighting fire with fire is not necessarily the greatest of things, but we will be showing again how quickly that this can be done, even though it is fire. We're going against Blazemut, and we switched out our rubies for Gobfins. Well, looks like we're going to have to do this quick because I forgot my undershirt. But even with negative fire, still kill him before we die. So if that tells you anything. I was burning alive. I forgot my undershirt. Oh well. But yeah, 2 rockets and a fireball from Wixen, and we ended up killing him pretty quickly. And I'm not even eating food yet. We did take a mind wipe and switch our stuff. We did 5 points into health, 5 points into stam, and I think only 2 points into weight to get us up to 400. And our attack, we put the rest of the points into. So net 356 attack power. So now we will take Flare Arrow off and put Seed Mine, and we will keep with the Gobfin stack, and we will take her against Frost Stallion. And attack aggressive. Seed Mine doing work right there. As you can see, no problem there. When you're doing quadruple damage there with the Seed Mine and the rocket launcher and Wixen and me stacking with Gobfins, it really doesn't matter when you have the applied fire. It's just a lot of damage that you're doing. So let's switch out the Gobfins again and add 3 rubies. We will keep the same attacks, and we will go against Paldius and Necromus. We'll feed her another burger, and I will feed myself another burger. Actually, this is what we'll do. We'll feed them both, me and her, the Rushore hot dog, which puts her at 1,100 defense. So a bit more survivability for us going against heavy hitter. But our damage really didn't drop too much because we have Vanguard and Stronghold strategists on all those rubies that we have stacked on there. So we dropped probably like 100 attack. So decent amount, but not so much that it's now not good, still very good. So we will bring Wixen with us and see how quickly we can take out Paldius and Necromus with some combo damage. There you go. So the defense definitely helped with that. Beacon wanted some as well. Interesting. So in conclusion, is Wixen worth it? I'd say it is a resounding yes. For her being an early game pal and being able to hang in there pretty well with even late game stuff, fire is a big factor at that point, but we took her against stuff that she necessarily isn't strong against, with Paldius and Necromus, and doing the duo thing actually was not too shabby. Able to keep them off with the rocket launcher, juggling a bit, and then turning around and using the AR to finish them off. With her also dropping the seed mine with that wide spread helps out with spreading out that damage too, especially with the fire, so you're going to be doing double damage regardless. Her being able to damage stack is a very important feature of the reason why I'm saying that she is worth it. That's the way it is with a lot of the fire pals in general. Specifically though, I'd say that she is definitely worth early game. As far as maxing her out and everything, I wouldn't say that she's the best out of the applied damage for fire. You have Pyron and you have Ragnarok, which Ragnarok is a lot of people's favorite, which is unsurprising. Usually you have good health, good armor or defense, and pretty decent attack power with your Ragnarok. Can't really go too wrong with that. And the ability to fly. You can quadruple stack your Gobfins at that point, because then you just don't need a flyer to be able to get around as easy. Pyron, a little bit on the lesser side, but at the same time, the Pyron does allow for a lot more dodging, I think, being able to get away from attacks a little bit easier rather than the Ragnarok. The Ragnarok could probably take a bit more damage than the Pyron, because the Pyron does have a pretty low defense. And at that point, you're really just using the Pyron to proc Seed Mine, which gets that Vine Wrap going for you to then use your damage. Ragnarok could probably be used in both instances for attack and the applied damage, so you can kind of do a best of both worlds and have Musclehead on there and do like a stronger version of it. Not necessary to have Vanguard and Stronghold Strategist on them, especially with it being a bit more tanky in general. And if you really wanted to make it super tanky, then you could do Legend, Flame Emperor, Swift, and Burly Body, and have a very fast being able to take damage and then kind of rely more on your damage at that point. Or have it more damage based with Legend, Musclehead, Swift, and Flame Emperor if you really wanted to get that bit more fire damage that you want out of it. That way it could be doing a bit more damage while still applying the fire damage as well. Wixen, however, as far as worth it, I'd say early game, yes, but I don't think that it's worth it to do this whole shtick where maxing it out entirely, not necessary. Like I said, you can find them early enough on to where you could potentially put in a couple of stars into it just by catching them rather than breeding for them. But a very good mid to early game pal, I'd say. And especially with her work suitability, you could have a pocket Wixen and be able to throw her at whatever you got, similar to the pocket Anubis, but until you get your Anubis bred up, then you can run a Wixen. Yeah, all in all, not bad. Did fairly well. Of course, not hard to make any of the pals really good. We've tested this theory with quite a few of them, but as far as worth it in the end game, there's just better pals for in game at that point, and she will last you quite a bit, but there's going to be stuff that's going to replace her flat out. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like. If you guys enjoy my content, drop a sub, and write down in the comments below what your thoughts are on Wixen. Other than that, keep your willy washed, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.